What are you doing down there?
Is he on your leg?
Yes. What are you doing down there, buddy? Good.
Gonna poop on Senior's head?
No, he's cleaned out. He's done enough. That's what he wants. Here, you want to look at these little ones? Maybe not. They didn't have any big ones. There he is. You get that?
Jaybird. Jaybird. He's not looking.
He'll kick that over. That's what he does. Okay, here he goes. That's it. There's a dead one. He's trying to grab a couple here so he can get outside. Here.
Worm gut.
Here, buddy. Why don't you grab a couple of these things and then head for the door. Here you go. So it's the next day, and he never sent me his DD-214. I didn't expect him to. But I will, because he had a good gift of gab, I'm going to just make sure I'm going to cover all my bases with you. And so he name drops a lot of guys. He name drops these SEALs that were actually there. Nobody in his Bud's class, he's making a bunch of this shit up. But he name drops some pretty big names, and one of them was a warrant officer named Ben Gorham, and he said he worked for Ben Gorham at the Group 2 at the training detachment up there. Guess who I just got off the phone with? That's the cool thing is I've been retired for a long time, but I still know everybody and stay involved. Everybody knows me in SEAL Team because they've all seen my videos, and all the phonies have too. When's the last time you saw Ben? Do you know what he was when he got out? Where he went?
Ben was a CWO3. Ben was a CWO3 or CWO4. He went to Mustang right before I was getting out.
I What did he do with him? What did you do with him?
He was in charge of all of our training over at Group.
And what were you doing at Group?
Again, I was a medic. I was helping them out with training, and I was a medic.
You were a medic, and you went to Group 2 and helped them out with training. Is that right?
Yes.
And when I told Ben, I asked about him. He goes, "Oh yeah, I know that guy." And I said, "Did you know him be a SEAL?" And he said, "Yeah. He was a SEAL at Team 4." And I said, "Ben, that guy was never a SEAL." And he fell back. And he goes, "Are you kidding me?" I said, "Where do you know him from?" Because I played him the section of the video where he starts talking about working with Ben Gorham. He said, "I knew him from a jiu-jitsu dojo." Yeah, okay. So what this guy does is he meets. Now, this guy has claimed to have been at SEAL Team 2. Ben knew him as a SEAL at Team 4. He just passed the smell test. And he's also down in Texas claiming to be a Green Beret. And where he gets this shit from, see, I'm like an FBI profiler, man. I get really excited with these things. Is he talks to you, he meets you as a SEAL. He knew a lot. He spent a lot of time in Virginia Beach, but only 348 days in the Navy. But he met Ben in that dojo, and he questions Ben about his background, his career, what did you do? And he remembered that Ben was a warrant officer. He remembered Ben was a trade debt, and that's what he says. So he knows all these guys. At one point, he was even talking about being on his phone. I'm going to have to get on my phone, or he was on his phone. But that's how he name drops these guys. Pretty clever. And I'm sure he did that with Green Berets as well. We met Green Berets at a jiu-jitsu gym, dojo, whatever it is, and he would take in all your information with these silly little questions, and he would lead you on. That's how confident this guy got. He was able to be around SEALs and hide in plain sight. That's all it is. He hid in plain sight, and that Ben Gorham said, "I'm going to call that son of a bitch." I still got his number. He couldn't believe that guy wasn't a SEAL. But he never worked. He said, I never worked with him in the Navy. I just knew him from the gym. And that clown, Ben said, got thrown out of the dojo in Virginia Beach because of a colored belt that he felt he earned. And he threw a hissy, and they kicked his ass out. I said, well, he's in Texas now at a martial arts thing he owns down there. And he said, yeah, I know. I'm going to call him. So that's just one of these things. That guy really had me on the ropes at times. Nobody in his Bud's class, he couldn't get the dates right, None of this was panning out. but he was name dropping some bigger names, and that's where it was. He knew these guys from a jiu-jitsu dojo in Virginia Beach, and probably hanging out with these guys, and he felt comfortable enough to tell them all he was a SEAL at Team 4 and just evade around, you know. And I've often said, you know, I verify more phonies for Navy SEALs than I do virtually anybody else. We have these secret SEAL Facebook pages on there, and every other post is, can you check this guy? Can you check this guy? Because they can't put the math together in their head well enough. Or when you're, you know, how I got my start, I was taken by a phony. Happened to have been a phony Marine, but I've been taken by a phony SEAL too. Now these guys get so good, they get so brazen, they get so confident that they will tell another SEAL that they're a SEAL and just evade around and wear them down with all this shit when they try to get it. And you feel like you're pushing the guy's buttons with asking these 20 questions about him. But a warrant officer, getting ready to retire, knew him to be a SEAL at Team 4. And he said, I never worked with him at TRADET. But Ben had told him that. Doesn't look like I'm going to be puckering up anytime too soon, but the really fucked up part of this guy, how gifted he is lying. Apparently there's no record of him ever being in law enforcement. He's got this disabled shit going on. He spent less than a year in the Navy, but he's a threatening little Billy bastard. He lit the gal up that hooked me up with the lawyers, calling the police, and that's what the guys do. They intimidate people with these SEAL claims. And, you know, I got contacted. So he's a threatening little Billy bastard down there, and see ya. I don't know what you're going to do now when the word of this all gets out, but see ya. Sayonara, man. Threaten people like that. Girls. That's what he does. Threatening the girls. Big fucking tough guy. Ben said he sucked at jiu-jitsu. I said, I might go down there and punch his face in. And I said, maybe not. He's a jiu-jitsu guy, and I'm getting a little old. And he goes, he sucked at jiu-jitsu. He sucks. Damn. Okay. I'm having a pretty good day, and I'm going to get that other guy I posted up there. We're going to get him tomorrow. You should see the line of shit this guy's pulling on these dating websites. Look at him. He looks like fucking Patton up there with all them awards, like a Japanese general, man. God almighty. See, I'm really fucking worked up. I will get them every time for you guys. Every time. Sometimes I go through some dry spells, but boy, I'm on them now. See ya. And finally, I'll talk about Jesus Flores. First, I'll give you an update that Jesus has shut down his jiu-jitsu gym in that small town in Texas. Guys were attacking the fuck out of him. He's tried to contact. I never contact him back. I will never text you. I'll never email you. I'll never make another phone call to your place because you just turn around and tell the cops, look, he's harassing me. He scared my wife. I won't do it. I'll make the one call, but I don't ever go back at you for anything. Others do. And he tried to contact me, tried to call here, and I'm just not going to take it. So a pretty funny thing, strange thing happened a couple of nights ago. If you watch that video, if you go back, Ricardo Tubbs contacted me. And he was in a panic. He starts texting me in a panic about being labeled a fake Navy SEAL. He didn't want any part of that. And says he's a lieutenant commander, he's a doctor, and he was at Group 2, but I've never claimed to have been a SEAL. Somebody sent him the video. And I never said that. I was verifying his name, but I said there's nobody listed by that name, meaning he was never a SEAL, and he never was. He was a medical doctor. And when I talked to him on the phone very late the other night, he said, I'm the guy that owned the gym that guy was pulling all this information out of these guys. He had a jiu-jitsu gym in Virginia Beach, gleaned his information. This is how clever this guy is. I'm just giving you this update because, you know, I just thrive on learning new shit. I've never seen a guy go to these lengths before to pull this off. I've seen some shorter versions of it, but this guy perfected this thing over years. He was taking anybody that he'd get around with and steal their stuff. So he said he was at Naval Special Warfare Group 2. Well, this is where Ricardo was. And then he said his platoon at Team 4, when I said, how many corpsmen do you have? What's the other one? And he said it was Ricardo Tubbs. And I said, there is no Ricardo Tubbs. But he was real clear about Ricardo Tubbs. Ricardo is a medical doctor. He's a lieutenant commander. And he took a little bit of offense to being labeled as a mere corpsman. No, that's not. He was really worked up about getting labeled a phony SEAL until I relieved him of that problem. So that guy name drops my son's name. He name drops Ray Care's name. I know them both. The Ben guy and some other names. And I know those are all SEALs that he has encountered. Or Green Berets, because he was claiming to be a Green Beret and former law enforcement, a combat vet. So that's what he was doing in this gym before Ricardo threw him out for crying like a little girl over a belt that he wasn't entitled to. This guy's got some problems. Less than 1 year in the Navy. And that's why they threw him out of that gym. So he goes to Texas and buys this gym from these people after he trashes their reputation down there. Those girls that had me on the line with him. I'm not done with that story yet. I'll tell you that. That's how deep you go to label someone a pedophile, to steal their business, steal their clients. Drunks and pedophiles. It's the common, just to shoot that down. So he had perfected this for so long that he was able, and you saw him on the video, I left that 1% chance that you may be who you say you are. But I knew it was all wrong, so just all wrong. But I goddamn guarantee my dumbass son believes him to be a SEAL. He does. And Ray Care believes him to be a SEAL. He does. Because that Ben guy believed him to be a SEAL, and that lieutenant commander believed him to be a SEAL. And what he did, if you want, this is where you learn from this stuff, because I knew there was some bullshit, but I knew there was something to it. I thought he might have been a technician at the team, because whenever we get them, they're harder to spot, because they know names, they know deployments, they know platoons, they know all that shit. Hey, Warrior, cut it out, man. I gotta get him on a CPAP machine. Much harder to spot. So when you steal, he stole somebody's Bud's class number, 288. I don't know who that is, but he knew there was a Bud's class at 288. And he was close to the date. He was only off like 8 months or something. So, he's asking these guys, oh, when did that class graduate? And he's picking up all this stuff and able to put together a story that would pass the smell test. And he would do it to Green Berets too, I'm guessing. He would steal their information, just enough to pass the smell test. And then he did it to police officers. And he is not who he says he is in the jiu-jitsu world. He hasn't got all those belts and all that shit. This guy just steals, and steals. But it's enough to pass the smell test. And if you watched him on there, as that Ben guy said, he didn't want to push it, because you get that feeling. You get that uncomfortable feeling when guys, like, oh, what class were you in? Oh, Coronado. I was in Coronado. And he changes the subject. He tries to dodge it. And you say, no, your Bud's class. What was it? He said, oh, yeah, that was in Coronado. And they just run you around until you feel like you're just, the guy's being pushed. I'm just pushing him. I'm looking like an asshole. And that's what you have to do. I have to force myself to do that. But I just kept on him a specific questions. And he did enough to just dodge me all around. And that's what it is. It's sad that how many guys were duped by him until he met 2 gals that were in that gym dojo down there. And one of them is retiring from the Navy. The one gal that helped me with that, she's Navy vet, and she smelled bullshit. You gals, man. You gals, all those dumbasses that believed that bullshit out there. There wasn't any women that believed it, that's for sure. So that's how he did it. He would take mental notes, detailed notes, just shit like that, and he would keep that in his head to pass the smell test as he got in. You guys would remember the guy that I went after. He was going on training trips with the SEALs because he met a warrant officer, a SEAL warrant officer, retired, who I knew personally and interviewed, met him at a gun store, and he dropped the SEAL bomb on him. This guy was a serial impersonator for sports figures, law enforcement. He went to jail for it. And the only thing that got him busted was he showed up in his khaki uniform that he bought offline. Hey, and his belt was slung over like a cowboy's belt. It's not how you do it in the Navy. It's the gig line. And his shit was just slung over. And somebody called him on it like, hey, Chief, what the fuck is that? And that's how it all unfolded. Somebody noticed something that is just so unmilitary. And they arrested him on base. Yeah, that's how that shit goes. He has shut his gym down. He has turned on those two girls. And guys from that gym are writing me. They can't believe this. I noticed all these people signing up for the website, and they're just shocked that this guy was never a cop. He was never a SEAL. These Green Beret stories, all this combat thing, everything that he told him, because martial arts guys are like that if they want to be. They can't believe it. And a lot of them turned on those girls. That Don Shipley, you paid him to do this to him. Okay, dude, that's enough of that shit. And I've said it on here before, often, I've been reassuring these gals and helping them out further. When I verify a phony claim, when I out a phony, when I send you the letter and you get him, you get mad at me. You get mad at me for pulling the rug out from underneath your SEAL pet. You had your doubts and I confirmed them, and then you get mad. You get mad because you're embarrassed because of all the parties you took him to, all the stories he told you, all the people you just said, oh, that guy's my friend, he's a Navy SEAL, he's killed a lot of guys. It's just the shit like that. And you get so embarrassed. And it just takes you time to regroup and go, it ain't his fault. But that's what they're doing. They're retaliating at those girls. And then I wrote that guy back that asked me about it and said, no, he's not a SEAL. This is how he did it. So I was very pleased with the outcome of that video and how that all went down. But boy, that's a fall from grace. And for him and his wife. And that small town that all knows he's full of shit. And it didn't take him long to figure it out. To look at Don Shipley and his reputation and go, God damn that guy, all those stories he told me, to turn the tables back on him. But the initial thing for a lot of people is anger at me or whoever did that stuff. Those girls got the verification. They didn't believe the story. They're the ones that are lying, manipulating this poor guy, this poor Navy SEAL. And then it sinks in.